Hi, I'm Laquette, and I'm the author of the romance novel, My Beginning, and I'm on Positive Power 21 with Jerry-Royce.
Hello, and thank you for stopping by. I'm your host, Jerry-Royce, and welcome to Positive Power 21 Network, where you get your positive on. This is a worldwide podcast for growth, wealth, and success. Thank you.
Positive Power 21.org, Internet Radio.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the Jerry Royce Show, and welcome to Positive Power 21.org. I am the voice of Jerry Royce, and when it's all positive, it's all power. That's Positive Power 21. And today's sponsors are the Resume Guy at www.career-image.com. So if you need a new resume because all those jobs are starting to pend out there, give him a call, and he will get you that interview. Remember, the resume gets you the interview, not the job. All right, we got FastTechSolutions.net for your internet needs. They rebuild and install computer network infrastructures and install wireless home systems, all in the Delmarva area, the DMV. So give them a call or check out their website, which is on positivepower21.org. Also, our sponsor for today is REI Heritage Tours, Cambridge, Maryland, home of Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad. Call 410-820-8350 or 1-800-522 to book your tour. It's for scenic driving tours with more than 30 sites related to freedom seekers in the 1800s. For more information, again, call 410-820-8350 and also 1-800-522-TOUR. Okay. In addition, they also are preparing for Harriet Tubman's Underground Railroad Conference on June 13th through 14th to celebrate 150 years after her death. The keynote speaker is Jeffrey Fortin. He's a Ph.D. He's assistant professor of history at Emmanuel College in Boston, Massachusetts. All right. And also don't forget about Lori Williams, the beautiful songbird out of Washington, D.C. CDs on sale on positivepower21.org. And we'd like to thank again Gerald Green for being our guest. He has a book out called Let Me Be a Vessel, released in 2012. And his brand new book called Heart Towards Home, due out shortly. And also we want to thank Lavette Saunier. She's the author of Mulholland's Diaries, and she's at lavettesaunier.com. Bernard Blue Rowell, he's the author of Son, I Got Your Back, about bullying, how a father helped his son overcome some bullying. So check out our website for those authors. And, again, we want to thank them for being on our show for this month of May. And today on our show, we have Laquette. She's the author of My Beginning, Book 1 in the Trinity series. And let's read her bio. Let me pull her bio up real quick. And she didn't send me a whole lot about her bio, but she's going to tell a whole lot about herself. And we're going to doing and where she's been. All right, 1 second while we get this up. It looks like it's not going to come up. Here we go. Well, I know, Laquette, you had a lot of pictures on your website. Here we go. A native of Brooklyn, New York, Laquette spends her time catering to her three distinct personalities: wife, mother, and healthcare provider. Writing is her escape from every day. She has always been a friend and a comforter. She loves writing and devouring romance novels. Although she possesses a master's degree in English literature, she forgoes Shakespeare any day to read something hot, lusty, and romantic. And welcome to the show, Laquette. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me, Jerry.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. And before we get really deep into your book so we can get people really hot and interested in it, because it sounds like it must be a romance novel, we want to know a little bit more about yourself, because I was looking at your bio. You didn't give us a whole lot to play with, but go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience.
My name is Laquette, and this is my first published romance novel called My Beginning, and I'm very, very happy and excited about it.
All right. Now, this is your first one, so are you self-publishing or are you published by somebody?
I am a self-publisher. I decided to go ahead and put my work out by myself.
All right, very good. It's always good to have that control. And then at the same time, I know you got a chance to learn a lot about the industry this way, too. So how was the experience, releasing your first book?
Self-publishing is not, for the faint of heart. It's not easy. Because with a traditional publisher, you have the benefit of their marketing, powerhouse behind them, behind you rather. When you're doing it by yourself, you basically are everything. You do every job that the publishing company offers. So it can be very time-consuming, but if you really have a belief in in your product and what you have and what you've produced, I say go for it, because you definitely do get to tell your story the way you want your story to be told, and that was very important to me.
That's right. Yeah, because, sometimes, like you coming out for the first time, they may want to, kind of twist and turn a little bit with your book. And sometimes, if you knew a newbie out there, you're not too acceptable for that kind of stuff. So you kind of, I guess it's best for you to come out there and do it yourself first. So then if you get picked up by somebody on the second time around, then you kind of appreciate what they have to bring to the table, right?
Well, it's really just a matter of preference, I guess. I never actually submitted my work to a traditional publisher. I read, I went on several sites and looked at their submission guidelines, but just from the things that they were requesting, I just felt as if they wanted entirely too much control over my work. When I write, I want to write the story that I want to write. I don't want to write a subgenre that you want me to write. So, this month you've decided you're publishing Western, so I have to write a Western story. Well, maybe I'm not in the mood to write a Western story this month. Right. And I'm not knocking that. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying, for me, I want it to be able to write the way I want it to write. I want it to be more organic and holistic.
Good. Now, your background or your major in college was English literature, correct?
Well, I went to college. I'm like a professional student. I have several degrees. I do work in healthcare. I'm a practicing registered respiratory therapist, but I also went to school for English, where I studied creative writing and English literature, and I also teach writing on the college level.
Oh, wow. Now, when you find time to do all this stuff?
It's not easy. It's not easy. I probably sleep a great deal less than most people.
Yeah, sound like it. All right. Now we know you studied in college. Now, what were you like in high school? Was that your thing? Were you running a newspaper?
No, actually, I was a vocal music major in high school. The arts has just always been, I've always had a severe love of the arts. So I've been very gifted and very blessed with multiple talents, and I've tried throughout my life to use them as often as I can. Music has always, been something that's been very ingrained in me since I was a child. My family is very musically inclined. So I grew up around a great wealth of music, and grew up performing with family and friends. And so when I went to high school, I chose to study vocal music. But writing, just like music, has always been there. And so I just figured that now is the time that I actually use this talent that I have.
Wow, so many talents. So with all this, why you didn't pursue a music career?
I love music and I love singing, but I never wanted to pursue it professionally. I can't really tell you why. I can't really give you a definitive explanation. I just never felt like I was supposed to do that. It's a very arduous lifestyle. And I'm a homebody. I like being with my family. The highlight of my day is when I get to come home to my husband and my two boys. So, having that kind of mentality, possibly being a recording artist, might not necessarily fit well with that.
Yeah, and that's a pretty tough industry too. I think it's way tougher than probably the book industry, because, like you said, you're able to, so you know a lot about it, don't you?
I've had some experiences with it. I used to sing backup for certain recording artists, and that was okay because I would just go into the studio and sing when they needed me to sing, but I was never one for going on tour with anyone. I didn't want to, I just didn't want my life to become that. I wanted to have I wanted normalcy to my life.
Yeah, I understand that. And a lot of people think about that. You think about the whole the whole animal. You know, what you're going to bite into. You know, if you're one of those kind of people, you thought about having a husband, a family. You want to be able to take the kids to school and go to their activities. Some things you just can't do because you will miss those opportunities if you pursue a lot of those type of careers. So
well, yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
All right. So what do you want to get out of the publishing industry? What do you want? How far you want to go?
I mean, right now I'm starting out publishing my own work. I would love the opportunity as this thing grows to possibly put out other artists and, you know, give them a leg up and allow them to put their work out into the world.
Good. Wow. So you want to get into that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And there's some people doing very well in this industry, so I can understand why you want to, you know, take that leap there. All right.
Well, you know, self-publishing is, you know, publishing itself, the traditional publishing method, has been very insular. You know, if you didn't know anyone in the industry, it was almost, you know, it's almost impossible to get your work out there. You really have to depend on someone feeling that your work is just the thing that should be put out right now. There are so many self-published bestsellers that were completely passed over by traditional publishers in the past. And now, you know, they're staples in the literary world. You mention their names and everyone, you know, knows who they are. So the self-publishing has allowed people to put their talent forth without needing the permission of a traditional publisher. And I think that's a great thing. It offers an opportunity, a platform for people to really, you know, put themselves out there.
That's right. And the tools are there, the resources are there, and there's a lot of testimonies that you know, it's out there to tell you, hey, I'm successful. I don't need those guys. Now, if you had an opportunity, maybe the second or third time around, would you take that opportunity?
I have nothing against traditional publishing. If the right publisher came along at the right time, I would definitely not turn it down. But again, it would have to be, we would have to agree on how, you know, the writing would take place. Because again, I'm not into writing, you know, to form. Okay, here's the format we want you to follow. That's what you do. That's just not my writing style.
All right. Now, if I ask you, what's on your website that somebody don't know anything about you, what would you say?
What's on my website that, you know, others don't know? Well, if it's on my website, then anyone knows. Anyone that types in.
What's not on your website? So what's not on your website that people don't know about you?
What's not on my website that people don't know about me? I am a complete softie in terms of romance. I mean, I write romance novels, but I don't think my romance novels really reveal how much of a softie I am in terms of romance. Like, you know, I love romantic comedy movies. I sit and cry at, you know, the chick flicks in the movies. I'm a girl. I'm a real girl.
So that means this book is just getting you warmed up then. We haven't seen nothing yet then, huh? World. We can't wait to see that second and third book come out. You might like this too much. You know, because I mean, romance novels is a rocking industry. I mean, some people have gone full time like that. You know, you get a group of fans that love your writing, and they just keep coming back, and they want more and more. So you ready to give them more?
Absolutely. I have manuscripts dating back 10 years that I'm just now opening up and going back over and revising and getting them ready for publication. So I'm ready. Bring it on.
She is ready. Watch out, world. So what are some of the ways you're promoting the book right now? I'm actually currently on a web blog tour where I've been fortunate to be invited for several interviews over several other authors' websites. I'm doing a lot of spotlights in terms of web blogs and websites. Other authors are hosting, allowing me to guest host. I'm also doing a lot of face-to-face events. This past weekend, I had the pleasure of being in the city of Gaithersburg, Maryland for their City Book Festival. It was an awesome experience, and people came out in droves, and they were just so welcoming. And let me tell you,
those folks down in Gainesville, they take their book reading serious. They came out in awesome numbers. They really did. It was amazing.
It was a beautiful day.
It was really beautiful. It was.
Yeah, I'm looking at your pictures now. See you signing there with a big smile on your face. A new fan has a copy of your book, and it looked like you having a ball.
Oh, I love meeting the readers. It's an amazing feeling for someone to appreciate your work and be as excited about reading your book as you were when you were writing your book. That is an amazing feeling.
I bet it is. Now, what are some of the things that a lot of the readers are looking for? What were some of the conversations like?
Many of them were questioning like where the idea came up, because it's a very elaborate tale, and they're like, well, where did you get this idea from? Like how did you create these characters? Many people are very curious about the whole process of writing, because most people don't sit down and write a 400-page novel, just for the fun of it.
Yeah. Wow. Now, you say it's called a Trinity series. So these new fans, these people you met at Gaithersburg, when would they expect to see the second book come out?
Well, the second book, the book that I'm currently working on now, is not a part of the Trinity series. As I said, I work according to what inspires me. And there's another story called Heart of the Matter that I'm currently working on that will come out first. I'm hoping to have it out sometime this summer. It is my hope and my intention that sometime toward the end of the year, the second book in the Trinity series will be available. I'm not making any promises yet, because my characters talk to me and I talk to them, and sometimes they don't always cooperate the way I wish they would. So I can't say exactly that it will be out at the end of the year, but that is my intention.
It sounds like you loving it so far, this industry.
Oh, I love writing. The process of getting your book out there and the publishing industry itself sometimes can be a little overwhelming because it's very time consuming. But writing and creating, just sitting down and creating a world for others to become engaged by and to lose themselves in, that is it. I just really, really enjoy it. And I love it when my readers, when they come to me and they tell me, I love this character, they talk to me like the characters are real people, and that tells me that I've done my job as a writer in creating these characters that people feel like they are actually, they should be topics of discussion.
Yes, absolutely, because the characters are real to them. I see you on a page with my good friend Dahlia. She's out there supporting you guys. Yeah,
Ms. D. Lawrence, she is amazing, very talented young woman, and she was very kind, and, she saw a newbie author out there. She came over and she showed me some love, and how awesome is that,
Yes,
to see someone who's come before you, come and have a conversation with you just because, you cannot beat that.
Yes, you can't. And she's actually doing the same thing. She's self-publishing, but she does have a publisher looking at her right now and trying to lure her in. I'm not sure if she's going to let them bring her in, but, I know she is touring with two authors that belong to different camps.
Yes.
So they having a ball. So anytime you need to know what's going on, she's the one to ask. So they are out there. And who knows, you may be part of that group one day, right?
Maybe. I would be so honored. I mean, it was amazing meeting her. For me, it's like when I have the opportunity to connect with other authors, I first of all, aside from being an author of romance, a writer of romantic fiction, I am a true fan of romantic fiction. I have been reading these books since I was 16 years old. And so, coming across other authors that I've read, that I have their books in my house, I'm having like such an enormous fangirl moment right now. I'm having such an enormous fangirl experience. So when I come across these people, it's like, oh my God, it's D. Lawrence. But then I have to remind myself that, you're not supposed to act like that in public. But I get a little excited. I do.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, we're all groupies. I can't wait to meet some of these authors that they're telling me I'm going to be meeting pretty soon because of our popularity here. But I said, hey, we just trying to help you guys out. Try to get the word out. About good authors.
And we certainly appreciate it.
Amen. So we just support one another. Now, so you're doing your tour. So far you're just doing Maryland right now, or you're trying to do Delmarva?
No, whatever comes up that we are able to do, and where we have the time to do, we're more than willing to do. So we'll pretty much go anywhere. When I say we, I mean the team of myself and my husband. He is such a huge supporter of what I'm doing. He's the reason behind me publishing this book. He really wanted me. He read it. And as a dude, he said, I don't like romance novels, but I got to tell you, and this is not because you're my wife, I absolutely enjoyed this book. And he's actually recommended to several of his male friends because he really thought it was that good of a book. And so, he travels with me. He comes along with me and he supports me. So wherever we're invited, we'll definitely go. We've done a stint at Queens. We went down to Gaithersburg, Maryland this past weekend. We've done Brooklyn, New York. Next month, I believe, we're going to be in Long Island and Mineola. Wow. And we have the whole summer pretty much booked. We're also going to be at the Harlem Book Fair in July. So I hope, people are going to come out and come visit us. As I said, where things come up, we're trying to get in. And if we find something that, they're willing to let us come sell our wares and show our talents, we're more than welcome, more than happy to go down there.
That's right. And I'm gonna have to catch up with you so I can get me a selfie. Baltimore we have a really big book festival here, and I think it's around September. And it caught me off guard a couple of times. We do a lot of celebration in September around here. So I'm hoping I'll be able to make it. Have to watch that day because we normally on the road a lot ourselves. But everybody. And
you said, where is this again?
In Baltimore, Maryland.
I'm actually looking into that now to see if we can make it. I think you're right, it's sometime in September, so we're trying to see what our other obligations are in terms of appearances to see if we can actually get down there. We don't know yet, but we're trying.
That's right. That is a good one. Baltimore has some great book fans here. Awesome
really
fans. Yes, because remember, we home of The Wire, Homicide.
You're right.
Now Scandal, the DC thing. Then you got the House of Cards. So all the stories are coming out of the Baltimore-Washington corridor right now. So people are definitely looking at us for stories. A lot of the characters, a lot of the writers from down south, they write a lot about the guys in Baltimore and DC.
Wow.
Yep, a lot of those stories. Everybody loves scandals, right? All right. All right. Now, we're on the top of the hour. Now, are you prepared to read us something from your book?
Wow. I don't know if I'm reading from the book. See, some of these words, are you sure your audience is up for this? It's not PG-13.
No, you're okay. We had two erotica authors on here, and one thing that's good about the podcast company we use, you can check off if it's too explicit for younger ears. So you're in good shape. Yeah, you got control of that. All right, so go ahead and let us have it.
I just don't want you, to end up having your sponsors pull your sponsorship.
No, well, you know what? You gotta remember, internet is not like AM, FM radio. FCC doesn't control us.
So you can say what you want, huh?
That's why everybody loves internet radio. Podcast is on the rise.
My goodness!
You be here for a while. You're gonna love it.
I just hope my mama isn't listening. I don't want to blush in front of her when she listens to this later.
Right.
Here we go.
Okay, here we go. And then we do your reviews after that, okay?
Okay. Genesis noticed something different about him. Usually Drew was very calm and jovial around us. He rarely made things intense. but tonight there was a sense of power behind his eyes. When she finally reached him, he said nothing. He simply wrapped his arms around her waist and pulled her to him. Before Genesis had a chance to react, he lifted one hand from her waist and secured it in her loose locks. His mouth fastened onto hers, making her moan from somewhere deep within her. Her arms lifted of their own accord and latched around his neck, drawing her closer into his web. Drew tore his mouth away from hers and found the tender spot between her neck and her shoulder. He must have sensed her legs giving way, because the next thing Genesis knew, she was hoisted up with her legs around his waist. Drew was holding her so tightly she could feel his heart beating as if it were in her own chest. Genesis was drifting in the sea of pleasure Drew was skillfully creating. He was almost completely immersed in the passion. She was almost completely immersed in the passion Drew was inciting when she heard a familiar voice in her head. No man will ever want you. You'll never be able to please any man. You're pitiful. She pressed herself deeper into Drew's body, hoping his possessive kisses would chase away her tormentor's words. She was holding on to Drew tightly, but the incessant sound in her head, first a small whisper, now a full-grown scream, began pulling her attention away from Drew. You are wasting his time. You can't give him what he needs. Sooner or later, he's going to toss you to the side, too. She pulled herself out of Drew's arms so quickly that she almost fell backward into the water. Drew reached out and swiftly steadied her on 2 feet. Drew, I can't do this, she said as she tried to step away from him, but he pulled her back into his embrace. Why not, Genesis? He asked as he moved a hand back into her hair, trapping her against him, forcing her to look up into burning chocolate eyes. Don't stand there and tell me that you don't want me, because I can feel your desire for me. He pulled her head roughly to him, taking command of her lips, forcing them open and sweeping his smooth tongue inside her mouth. Hell, he breathed against her lips as he took one final lap before tilting her head to look into her eyes. I can taste it. He was correct. She couldn't deny she wanted him. But as her mother had told her often, she was never too old for her wants to hurt her, and not having Drew would certainly hurt. Drew, a sexual liaison between the two of us, would not work. It would not blow up. It would blow up in our faces, and I don't want to cause friction between you and my brothers. You think this is just about sex to me, Genesis? He asked, a hard edge coloring his voice. Understand this. I am a world-renowned recording artist. I could have a different chick in my bed every night of the week if I chose to. If I just want a piece of ass, all I would have to do is send a one-word text, and I would have free pussy waiting for me to fuck at my leisure. His harsh tone made her close her eyes while an unexpected shiver crawled up her back. Why did the thought of him sleeping with someone else suddenly make Genesis cold? I don't want to just have sex with you. I want to be with you. Her unused voice cracked as she said his name, Drew. She swallowed, attempting to lubricate the walls of her dry mouth and throat. You don't know me well enough to want to be with me. I am the woman that has been closest to you in proximity during a very difficult part of your life. It's only natural that you would have a confused affection for me. It will wear off in a matter of time. There it was. Her rational brain had finally decided to put in an appearance. That line sounded almost believable to her. Bullshit, he said. The lines of his face became sharper as he spoke. You want me just as much as I want you. Why are you fighting me? He still held her tightly, her skin burning where his hands made contact. Why the hell was her body reacting to this man's anger this way? She should be enraged. She should be mad as hell, telling him where he could step off. Instead, her skin was humming with anticipation of his touch, with a growing hunger that was making the walls of her womb clench. Damn it. Drew, I am a medical professional who has been made responsible for your care. She kept her eyes closed as she spoke, hoping to get her body back under her control instead of his. It's unethical for me to allow anything romantic to transpire while you are under my care. You're lying, he said through clenched teeth. This has nothing to do with medical ethics, Genesis. Tell me the truth, or I'm going to keep coming after you. And eventually, you will give in to me. This thing between us is too strong for you to ignore it forever. We've been dancing around this chemistry between us since my mother's funeral. I'm tired of playing the ignore it and it'll go away game. Either you come clean with me, or I'm just going to wear you down. Drew pulled her close to him and planted his mouth atop hers once more. She began to lose herself in his kiss. Just as before, she crumbled in his arms, becoming almost as fluid as the water surrounding them. When he was satisfied that he had proven his point, he ripped his mouth away from hers, leaving her mouth searching for that lost heat. That is not confused affection. That is just plain old lust, Genesis. Has it been that long since you've experienced that? Or maybe you've never experienced it at all.
Wow. My beginning. Genesis, Lawrence, and Drew Merrick.
Yeah.
Wow. What a story. So basically, these guys have is it a new love for them?
Well, it is. It's a new love for her.
Okay.
Drew has basically held the torch for her for many years. But the strange part of the story is, although they have had these really close-knit familial connections, neither of them have actually met except for one time at his mother's funeral, which happened a year prior to their actual meeting.
Wow. And so Genesis is originally from Brooklyn, New York, and she left.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So where does the story take place now?
The story takes place in Brooklyn as well as Los Angeles, California.
Oh, wow. She went to the West Coast. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And that's when she found the bad Drew Merrick, huh?
No, she finds Drew because he ends up in a really bad situation that that her family feels she can help. So she's called back by her family to come back home to help him, and that's when this whole epic love begins for the two of them.
Oh, okay. So it's not taking place on the West Coast then. Okay. Wow.
No.
Very good. Now I'm looking at your reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's saying the same thing. It's awesome. Great read. Now it's available in Kindle, ebook.
It's available in Kindle. It's in the Nook book for Barnes & Noble. It's available on Kobo.com. They subscribe to other e-readers. I'm not really exactly sure which specific e-readers, but I know they do other e-readers other than the Kindle and the Nook.
Good.
It's also available in paperback on my website.
That's right. Definitely paperback. Okay, one reviewer says, "What an awesome story. Very well written, with characters that was easy to connect to. I can't wait until the next book so that readers can continue the journey with Genesis and Drew." Is that going to happen?
Well, the next story is actually not really about Genesis and Drew. It's going to be about her friend True and her love interest. You will see Genesis and Drew in the story, of course, and we'll get a little insight onto what's happened to them after this first book. But the next story is certainly about True and her love interest.
All right, good. The next author reviewer say, "I love reading. However, the book has to be very interesting in order for me to continue reading the entire book. The author is awesome. I really hope that part 2 comes out very soon." Uh-oh.
It's coming. I promise. It's coming.
Yeah, the fans, they just force so much on the authors. It's like they're trying to take control of what you're trying to do. All right. Well, one says, "This book is spicy, but very realistic. Truly exposed to human nature. Great read. Looking forward to the next book." Wow, all I'm saying the same thing. This book made me keep wondering what would happen next and had me on the edge of my seat. The ups and the downs Genesis and Drew went through made it very interesting and exciting. I would recommend this romance novel to anyone and look forward to the next one. Wow, you have some fans that sound like they're going to be around for a while.
Well, I hope so. I tell you, I watch my author page on Amazon. I don't know, maybe other authors are, they're too good or they have too many fans or, they've been doing this too long so it doesn't make that much of have that much of an impact on them. But for me, I am just so humbled and so awed anytime someone takes the time to put up an honest review of what they thought of the piece. It is such a humbling experience.
It is, definitely. Now this is a little different here. This author says, I love the dash of the supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
Drew's mother comes to Genesis. I love the church scene regarding hardships, citing Job. Job, was she saying Job? Citing Job?
No, Job.
Job. Oh, okay.
Well, it is not a Christian romance novel, as you heard. Just from the excerpt I read, you could tell it's not a Christian romance novel. There are Christian elements to the book only as a plot point because Genesis happens to be a preacher's kid, and so a lot of that backstory kind of influences her relationship with Drew and how she deals with Drew or how she deals with life, period. So there was a necessity to bring in some elements of Christianity and of elements of, the black church because that's how she grew up.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one of your reviewers sounded like she was giving away a lot of the book. I'm not even going to read
that, but I can't stop that. I think I know which one you're talking about. I read that too and was like, wow, she just put it out there. But I love her still. She was just excited, that's all.
Yeah, she was so excited about Genesis. She was talking about how, she was hot, she had a career, she's world renowned, she has a reputation, good looks. So describe Genesis. What does she like? What does she look like? Tell us about her.
Genesis is a beautiful African American woman who is, about her business. She is, she's actually prototyped. Not that this person has actually experienced anything, as dramatic as Genesis has, but the essential elements of her character are actually patterned after a cousin of mine by the name of Laverne. I love you, Laverne. And because I felt like if I wanted a woman that had her stuff together and was the envy of all other women and was humble about it, wasn't stuck on herself, what characteristics would she have? So she had to be someone that was really driven and someone that was really about learning as much as they could about their craft and creating this life for themselves where they got to put that education to use. I wanted her to be someone who wanted to help people. I didn't want her to have a self-involved career because, yes, she makes a lot of money, but she doesn't do what she does because of the money. She does it because she has a genuine care and concern for, people who are in need of her kind of help. And that's, I wanted her to be that person. I wanted her to be the type of person that when a friend was in need, she would leave her home, 3,000 miles away and come back home to a place where she wasn't necessarily welcome just to help a friend.
Good. Wow, what a storyline. Very good for your first book.
Oh,
Those are
you.
Some outstanding reviews. Outstanding. I wish you the very, very best. And of course, as you build your fan base, you're already on the, right track already. Everybody, you can find Laquette's book at laquette-likes.com. And it's LAQUETTE likes.com. The name of the book again is My Beginning, and you can check out on Amazon.com. It's Kindle version, ebooks, paperback. For those of you who like to smell the pages. And she has events where she's going to be on her website. And for some of you guys, her husband will be with her. There's a lot of pictures out there, and she's glamming it up. So be careful. Watch out for Mr. Laquette. That's fantastic. You guys are doing this together. It's like a family business, right?
It really is. I tell you, this book would not be out if my husband, I love you, baby. Oh, you're so awesome. It would not be out if he had not pushed me, and told me, I believe in you, and you should believe in you. And if I want to read it, I firmly believe the rest of the world will want to read it as well.
That's right. And how long you guys been married?
This October, God willing, it will be 6 years.
Good, good. All right. God bless you. All right. And as long as you keep writing these books, you guys going to be keeping it hot, right?
Well, that's the plan. You got to keep the home fires burning.
And, and it's funny, LaQuette, since I've been meeting you guys, romance authors, erotica, even the ones that write the urban lit have a lot of, they talk a lot about the hotness that these women bring to the pages, and the men, they bring in strong black men,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's one thing you will never find in my book is man bashing. I'm not into man bashing.
Good.
I think that there are good men. I completely denounce the lie that there are no good men.
Right.
I believe in good men. I know that there are good men because I'm married to an exceptional man, and I know other exceptional men who are also in committed relationships. So they're out there. It's just that sometimes we're not. There are a couple of things. Sometimes we're not in the right place at the right time. Sometimes we're not in the right place in our minds to accept good men, but they're out there. So, if you really want a good man, you'll find one, or better yet,
Absolutely.
he's supposed to find you.
Absolutely.
Let him find you.
And I tell people, and you're right, and I tell people all the time, when it's this thing called law of attraction. Depending on what type of books you're reading, sometimes you have to change up a little bit. I know urban lit is really popular, the street lit. I mean, when you keep reading these books about some of these really hard dudes, that's what's going to come into your life. I mean, you keep saying, you keep turning the pages, the same guy knocking on your door, and then you find yourself trying to find a game to get rid of them. Change up a little bit and find a book that brings the positive brothers to the pages and see what happens then.
Well, right? I honestly feel that, especially with this book, one of the things I definitely wanted to put out there with this book is that there are, normal people that come from Brooklyn. Brooklyn, we go hard. We do. There's some hard stuff going on in Brooklyn, but there's also some really beautiful, normal, everyday stuff in Brooklyn, and I wanted people to see that there's there's people in Brooklyn who go to work every day, who come home. They don't have the sort of drama that is perpetuated on the news and in the media. That's their normal, everyday lives, and I wanted people to see that, there are people in Brooklyn that look like any other type of middle-class person in the world.
That's right. Amen. And thank you for that. And again, we thank you for coming on the show and sharing your life, your book. It was a fantastic show, and I really appreciate you coming on here. Really did.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it, Jerry.
You're welcome. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget about REI Heritage Stores in Cambridge. Don't forget about LaQuette. She's at laquette-author.com. And I just like to say, challenge yourself to enjoy this very moment fully, completely, and sincerely. And put the power of joy in everything you do. I'm Jerry-Royce. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. And stay tuned for our next show coming up in 15 minutes. Have a great one. Bye-bye. All right, where's my intro music? My ending music. Here we go. It's coming. That's the delay of the internet. Thank you for tuning in to the Positive Power 21 Network. Team 21 would like to thank you all for tuning in, and please spread the word and tell a friend. This is Jerry Royce at Positive Power 21, where we get our positive on.